Hey everyone, Kadeem the 5G Ninja here. Do you want to be an Australian Ninja Warrior? Well, I've got 4 tips for you that I think you should consider when putting together your application. The 4 most important things to think about are your backstory, your personality, talking less in your application video, and showing off your strengths. With your backstory, this is probably one of the most important parts of your application. You need to really think about why the show would want to select you to be on the show. Why would the producers want you on the show? Why, or I guess, how are you intriguing enough for the public? Yeah, you really need to think about what you have done in your life, your history. It doesn't need to be, I guess, a really dramatic sob story. Or a really dramatic, you've had a really dramatic life, or a traumatic, I should say, probably is a better word, traumatic life. But think, what is it that is intriguing about you that will get their eye or capture that? If you have to really think about your life, and if you haven't really done much per se, I'm not saying don't apply for the show, but that's something that that's what they're looking for. So you need to be realistic enough with yourself to know, well, if I'm not interesting or don't have something interesting to share, my chances of being on the show will be quite low, okay? But you can, I guess, get away with not having a great backstory if your personality is up there. So your personality is the second most important thing. That doesn't mean you need to be a larrikin, or you need to carry on and be really macho, or whatever it might be. Your personality is your personality, so you can't change that. At no point trying to be something that you're not. So be yourself, whatever that may be. And I guess the producers and the public will respond accordingly. But I find, especially in Australia, and my experience of being on the show for 2 seasons now, with your personality, Australians don't seem to like, obviously, well, no one really likes arrogant people. And I think also being confident can also be mistaken for arrogance as well, which is unfortunate, but that's the society we live in. So you need to really think about how you portray yourself. So the best way to, in my opinion, to do that is to be humble about everything you do. So obviously be confident within yourself. You know that you're confident with whatever it is you do, or maybe with your training or whatever, but try not to carry on about how good you are. When on the show will make you say things, but within reason. If you want to carry on and that's what you're trying to do, and maybe, I don't know, you're trying to sell something or whatever it is you're doing, well, that's up to you. But in my opinion, the ones who are very well received and get a lot of airtime, not to say myself, but yes, myself, because it's true, I get a lot of airtime, play the humble card. Be grateful for being there, and which you should be anyway, but that's what they want to see, and the public really like that. They always want the humble, down-to-earth person to do really well. And if you're a bit quirky, show that off. That's very valuable stuff. The third thing that you need to think about is talking less in your application video. I know ninjas who have applied, or they were on the first season and then tried again for the second season and didn't get a call back, because I believe they talked for too long in their application video. Now, for your first time, your story is going to take a little bit longer to say than, say, someone like myself who's coming back, who already has history and established profile with the show. So my story will be much shorter, or get shorter and shorter, instead of, because I don't need to sell myself anymore. I already did that in season 1. So what you say in your video about yourself is really, really important, because you're talking about your story, you're showing off your personality. But I still believe the less you can compress and the better the words you can use, the better it is for you. Because you only have 5 minutes in your application video, and they also want to see training. They give you 4 questions that you have to answer. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but it's, who are you? Why do you want to be on the show? Do you think you can win? Blah, blah, blah. Answer those 4 questions. Don't go overboard. Just answer those 4 questions by showing and going with your backstory and personality, answering those 4 questions, and then the rest of the video should be you training and showing them your strengths. And that's the 4th point. Show off your strengths. Film everything you do. If you're doing ninja training, film everything that you can do, and that way you have a lot of footage to choose from, so that it's easier to edit. If you have a unique training regime, like for example Tarzaniel from last year, he showed a lot of himself training out in nature. Then show off that. Get as much footage of cool things that you do, and put it together. If you're an ex-athlete or Olympic level or whatever in whatever sport you do, find as much footage as you can. Use that in. They love that sort of stuff. So try and basically summarize everything as much as you can into a minute, and use the rest of that time to show off your strengths. So again, backstory, personality, talk less, and show off your strengths. If you do those 4 things, I promise you'll have a really good shot at competing on Australian Ninja Warrior.